As a member of the Class 507 Preservation Society, I've come to Derby to have my picture taken in front of our old train. That's an absolute minimum for today's little visit. Then I climb aboard, and as I walk down the train it seems, for one, a bit longer than I remember it, and for two, a lot smarter than I remember it. Well, you can see sponsors' names on the seats, so you can probably guess this has had a really good smarten up while it's been down here at the Alstom factory in Derby. Unlike some preserved trains, it's in full working order, and it's a third rail electric unit, and there's a long test track down here in Derby where they can run any kind of train along the tracks, and the third rail electrics are no exception. This has had a 40-mile-an-hour test on that track late last year, and of course some of the preservation team who've been doing a lot of the work got to go on that. I can see a gathering of people ahead, and I have a feeling I know what that is because I was told there was going to be a simulator. And I've no doubt there'll be a bit of a queue for people to have a go at driving the train. The simulator software is being run on a PC which is down on the floor behind the simulator itself. I go past all that and go and have a look at the real cab at the other end of the train. Not a lot of interest in this today, but perhaps that's because they're not allowed to blow the horn. There are people working at the Alstom factory. This is just a normal working day, and we have to be on our best behaviour as we travel around. As you probably know, I'm a fan of all things computers, and this is the passenger information system. They've got a demo of it outside the train, so you can key in codes, there's a list of codes here, and it will announce various things, and of course it will also print up things on the display.
Passengers travelling to Renton Park should leave the train at the next station and catch the special soccer bus service from outside the station.
The voice on these trains is Julie Berry. She started out on Directory Inquiries, and she's done quite a lot of train announcements, including some of the major tube lines in London. On the new Class 777 trains, you will still hear some of her announcements, but most of them are now a male voice, which is AI generated. So it appears that the days of real human beings being behind train announcements are pretty much gone, and I think therefore we'll let Julie have the final say on this trip to Derby.
Merseyrail service to Chester, calling at Moorfields, Liverpool Lime Street, Liverpool Central, James Street, Hamilton Square, Birkenhead Central, Green Lane, Rock Ferry, Bebington, Port Sunlight, Spittal, Bromborough Rake, Bromborough, Eastham Rake, Hooton, Capenhurst, Beach and Chester.
Well, when we went to Derby, we were told not to film anything that wasn't Merseyrail. In other words, didn't belong to the Class 507 preservation. But I have to admit, we were being shown one of the factories where they were building an order for 10 new Crossrail trains, and my camera accidentally came on. We're going to Burnley now just for a revisit. We've been to see how the building's going on, and I promised you a look at the garden design. So, bring on the Burnley bungalow.
Burnley's buzzing, can you feel it too? From the cobbled lanes to the sky so blue.
Now we're going to talk about CAD. It started out as CAD. It's also CGI. It's computer-based generation of, in my case, in video, it's characters. In the case of an architect, they're using AutoCAD or something like that to design buildings. And there are also garden designers who design gardens. Well, that's clever, isn't it? So this is a garden design that Steve Bushby had commissioned for his backyard. The backyard is the place that is being dug up at the moment. And once you've got all the images drawn out, you can then produce stills from all different angles, and you can do a 3D render of the thing you've designed in such a way that it looks as though you're taking a camera or a drone perhaps, flying over the garden and seeing what it will look like. So there we are. We already know what the garden's going to look like, and they're still digging up the foundations for it. Hopefully we'll be able to take you there in a few months' time and show you it being developed. We know from the gardens that are around the flats where I live that it takes a few years for things to grow up properly and look good. But there we are, that's how it actually is at the moment, and we've just shown you a glimpse of the future thanks to CGI or CAD design or whatever you like to call it. Right, here's another design. Hold that one there a minute. Those of you who watch Mrs. Brown's Boys, and I believe there's quite a lot of those about, may recognise this design. It's the CAD design for the studio set, and people sit in the audience and they see the whole of this at once. What you see on TV is only part of it each time. So the set starts at the kitchen, goes on to the living room with the staircase going up, and of course there's a front door going out, apparently onto the street, but just the other side of the door is the pub. And they're all arranged in the studio, straight across like that in front of the audience, and they watch it live, and it must be a lot of fun to go there. Well, if you want to have a look around the studio yourself, guess what? You can now use Google Earth. Yes, BBC Scotland have let the Google Earth cameras in. Actually, it's Street View. Google Earth, Street View, I do get them mixed up, but Street View is giving you a look around the set. It's not the design one that I showed you. It's the actual set, which you can do a 3D tour of at whatever time in history it was actually filmed by Google. So who knew you could do that, eh? So before we leave this subject of design, I was very inspired by this, and the studio with all the different sets, I wanted one. The reason I've let you into my flat today is to show you what I really have at my disposal in the real world, but now I have the tools using AI to create my own multiple location studio system, and I've decided to do that. I actually have asked AI to give me a garden. I specified that this was going to be a place to live, and therefore it had to be protected from the weather. So we got an Eden Project type dome put over the top of it, and that protects the whole idea of what I'm going to do. Inside the dome I want a studio, so I got that designed, and I also want my own garden, so I've got those two things designed, and I'm going to start using them. So if you'd like a look at what that looks like before we go, then here it is.
Hi, I'm Maddie, and I live in this huge garden created under a dome where we can control the weather. If you have ever seen Star Trek, you may be familiar with the holodeck. Just because it isn't real doesn't mean you can't live here. I used to have a miserable life living with my parents in a huge stately home type of house. One day, I decided to pack a small case and take off in my lovely VW camper. That was the turning point for me. I am now happy and free to live my life the way I want to. We've made a music video showing my journey here from my old home. On the way, I rented a flat for a few weeks, and I ran into a 19-year-old man named Brian Smart. He wanted to show me some of the cars he had owned, so we tried to bring them into the video. Eventually, I found this dome and picked a habitat to suit me. I now live in this garden, protected from the weather by the dome. Here's the video I made. I am really fed up with living in this huge old house with nothing to do. My parents get on my nerves as they are so controlling. I need to move on and get a new life for myself. My name is Maddie, and this is my journey.
Dad's voice on the driveway, folded arms, the tilted head, suitcase full of summer dresses, letters I never said. I've got 2 rings in my pocket, her perfume on my sleeve, rear view full of marble columns, front seat saying leave. I'm driving past the iron gate, humming my name hard in a shoebox, hands on the frame, tears on the wheel, but the road feels kind. Backseat lanterns for the dark in my mind. I'm half afraid, but I still go, chasing a life I don't yet know. Mama's pearls in the glove box click once when I hit a turn. They sound like all her questions, the ones I never earned. I passed the school, the rusted swings, the field of winter corn. Who am I if I'm not their daughter, in a house of polished thorns? I'm driving past the iron gate, humming my name hard in a shoebox, hands on the frame, tears on the wheel, but the road feels kind. Backseat lanterns for the dark in my mind. I'm half afraid, but I still go, chasing a life I don't yet know. I don't have the words yet, so I sing what I can get. Just this little tune, painting over golden rooms. I'll rent a room above a baker, smell of bread at 5 a.m., leave my shoes by someone's door, call strangers us and them. Stack my books on crooked shelves, hang my own coat by the stove. Learn to laugh at smaller problems, count my blessings, not their votes. I'm driving past the iron gate, humming my name hard in a shoebox, hands on the frame, tears on the wheel, but the road feels kind. Backseat lanterns for the dark in my mind. Oh, I'm half afraid, but I still go, chasing a life I don't yet know. Headlights stitching through the dark, new town waiting like a spark. If I forget the words someday, I'll hum my way into that place. I'll stay.
So I've been putting this dome together, and I've put a bedroom in because I thought that was important, place to sleep and all that. But I've missed out something extremely important. I haven't put a place for coffee in here. So I'm going to wander out into the garden now and see if I can make a coffee in that kitchen I saw.
Hold the night close. Good night. Sleep tight.
Hi Brian, help yourself to coffee.
Let your
I'm going to bed
heart
now.
go.